Ken Trahan with Lenny Vangilder. It's our First NBC Bank Weekend Preview, brought to you by First NBC Bank, with 35 locations throughout the greater New Orleans area, as well as the Florida Panhandle. That's First NBC Bank, proud sponsor of SportsNOLA.com. The New Orleans Saints finishing up working with the New England Patriots. 2 days of practice, productive for both teams, very happy with the work. Now they'll play a preseason game, the home opener, on Saturday night at 6:30. Typically, Lenny, familiarity breeds contempt when you see somebody for this long a period of time, although these two coaches kind of mute that a little bit.
They do. Look, we've seen a lot of joint practices going on in the NFL. Personally, I like it. I think you get more done in those types of scenarios than you really do in a preseason game, where the focus is on trying not to get hurt. You can still get some work done within the game, and obviously it's important to the bottom guys on the roster, but the top guys on the roster, that's where I think you really get those opportunities working head-to-head in practice. And we've seen a lot of it. And look, give Sean Payton and Bill Belichick credit. They really on the front end put the kibosh to any idea that there were going to be fights and things getting out of control out there, like we've seen in some other places, most notably recently the Cowboys and the Rams. And 2 productive days of work and, seemingly pretty healthy, which the rest of the NFC South can't say at this point, reference Kelvin Benjamin.
Yeah, bad injury for Carolina. Saints, of course, have a lot of guys banged up. We don't know the severity. So, second preseason game arrives. You typically see starters a little bit longer, but we're not going to see some starters because of these injuries.
Yeah, and that's unfortunate. Guys just trying to, get in the work. Because really, like you say, with the starters, it's about the second game and the third game. The first game, if they play at all, like, of course, Drew Brees did not in game 1, if they play at all, it's not going to be much. In the fourth game, you're just trying to stay healthy at that point and make those final roster decisions.
No question about it. So, the preseason opener, 6:30 on Saturday evening in the Mercedes-Benz Superdome. Zephyrs playing out the string. The losing streak reached 11 heading into Thursday, and it's just been tough, 51-74. It's just been a tough second half.
It has, and one of the things that's really contributed to this is they've faced a brutal schedule here in the last 3 weeks or so, playing basically all first-place teams there for a while. And, you've got teams that are really striving to make the playoffs, and you've got the Zephyrs. So, again, like we've talked about, you got guys at this point, the guys, the manager and the coaches in the dugout are obviously watching every at-bat, every play in the field, reporting back to the big club. And these guys at this point, the guys at least on the top end, are playing for that September call-up from the Marlins.
Bad news for LSU. A key player in their secondary, Jalen Mills, one of their best players on their football team, injured, out 4 to 6 weeks. The severity still really not fully known, but that's a blow. Ricky Jefferson, a talented player from Trahan, is slotted to replace him, and he's athletic, but depth certainly becomes a problem as you lose one of your best players.
Yeah, and what's going to be interesting is the way LSU's schedule sets up early on. You've got an easy start, if you will, with McNeese State. Then you've got 2 key SEC games at Mississippi State and Auburn, and then you've got a couple of non-conference games after that. So if you're Les Miles, how do you play this? Do you maybe rush him and try to get him back for the Mississippi State game if you can, or the Auburn game? Or do you try to take your time with him and say, okay, you're not going to play those, and then we got 2 non-conference games after that, so we can really take our time and try to get him back second week of October?
That depends on how much confidence they have in Ricky Jefferson, and of course we will see just how that manifests itself. Tulane continuing to prepare for the upcoming season as well, and one of the things that people are watching pretty keenly is the competition for kicker. No fewer than 4 or 5 guys are competing for this spot.
And that was a problem last year, and that's why there's such a competition. Some new guys in there along with the returnees. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how it plays out. At the end of the day, you just got to have somebody who can make a kick in a pressure situation, and you want to avoid some of the breakdowns that you saw on special teams a year ago.
Congratulations to Jesuit-based Retief Oil, national runner-ups at the American Legion World Series in Shelby, North Carolina. And, of course, our first NBC Prep Showcase will continue, or pick up again, I should say, as we get things rolling in September with just a host of games, not just football, but all throughout the course of the year. You can read about it at SportsNOLA.com, but I know we're all excited about the possibility again and thankful to First NBC Bank for their support.
No question. Thanks to Ashton Ryan and his team for coming back on board again for a 4th football season, a 5th year overall, to help us bring to you all of the best in high school football. in Southeast Louisiana and even outside of Southeast Louisiana. We're going to make our first trip to Mississippi this year. Week 2, Brother Martin at St. Stanislaus. I'll tell you what, week 1 is going to be a lot of fun, too. 2 teams coming off trips to the Dome, Warren Easton and Jesuit, week 1 for us. And along with a host of other games, the traditional Holy Cross-Jesuit rivalry, the first ever meeting between Rummel and John Curtis in football. It's going to be just a terrific schedule, and looking forward to getting it started in a couple of weeks.
And you can check out the WGSO 990 AM prep football schedule as well. 17 contests in the regular season. And I also follow along as you read about our 21st year of the original prep football report, which is, of course, part and parcel of our school board at SportsNOLA.com, the best in the state. So you can check all that out at SportsNOLA.com as well, along with videos from scrimmages of this past week, which people always enjoy, and our high school football previews, which people always enjoy.
Yeah, looking at some of the action, Rummel and Catholic High got together Wednesday evening at Joe Yenny. 2 very good football teams. We'll have some scrimmage footage as well from Jesuit and McDonough 35 on Thursday evening as we get ready. I mean, it's a Jamboree week next week, and the regular season starts in a couple of weeks.
And we look forward to it. That's our First NBC Bank weekend preview, brought to you by First NBC Bank with 35 locations throughout Southeast Louisiana and the Florida Panhandle. That's First NBC Bank, proud sponsor of SportsNOLA.com. Have a great weekend.
All right, you too. See you on Monday.
Until then, I'm Ken for Lenny. Thanks for joining us, and God bless you.